Rumble, come on. Connected over TMP. Stream. Oh my god, finally. Dear God, that was extremely annoying. Cool. Okay, now let me pop out the chat. Docs. Custom browser. Okay, that was stressful. Learning the minor things that throw me off for streaming. Rumble could do with improving a couple things in that category. Anyways, welcome to my stream. It took me about 4 different tries to get this working properly, but now we should be fine. I've got some music in the background, I'm chatting here. I may actually turn the music down a tiny bit. Oh man. Anyways, I am Noxus the Codex Astralis, and today I want to be covering and talking about some of the news that came out from Unreal Fest 2026. I haven't paid too much close attention or seen any reactions to it yet. I do know that Unreal Engine 6 was shown off a bit, and that new game, I think it's called No Laws, had a big presentation there as well. But that game is running on Unreal Engine 5, so we know it's probably going to run like garbage, even though it looks great in theory. Alright, so let's go here. Go over to YouTube. And hopefully stuff like the chat and everything is working. Let me do a test message here. Testing chat. Yep, I pop over to my OBS, it pops up there. Excellent. So let's go over to Unreal's YouTube channel here. And let me make a post notifying everybody. Oh, we're good now. Big Games has released a major Unreal 5 engine update that runs twice as fast on the Nintendo Switch 2. New lighting system called Lumen Light. Alright, that popped up in my Twitter feed just now, so let's see. I don't want to react to the whole thing because I don't want to take up, 2 hours plus just covering what other people have already covered here. Yes, here we go. Let's start with the Unreal 5.8 highlights.
Hey everyone.
New features.
Unreal Engine 5.8 is here with a bunch of exciting new features to check out. Build larger, feature-rich worlds faster.
Lower this. Oh, hold on. That is on the wrong screen. No, not that one. This one. Alright, so let's start from the top here. Hey, what?
Hey,
oh my, dude. Technology is just not on my side today. It is actually freaking infuriating.
everyone. Unreal Engine 5.8 is here with a bunch of exciting new features to check out. Build larger, feature-rich.
Also, let me check out the audio difference. I don't know. Okay. We're going. We're rolling.
Worlds faster. Meet Mesh Terrain, a powerful new experimental system for building complex 3D landscapes without height field limitations.
So it's doing it in
Bring
voxels?
those landscapes to life with the procedural vegetation editor, which now enables you to create and import vegetation directly in Engine. Unlock new in-editor animation rigging workflows. With the expanded skeletal editor blend shape tools, it's now easier to create stylized characters in real time.
So now you can do blend shapes from within Unreal.
Introduce a more intuitive animation workflow to manipulate characters directly through the mesh surface. And the new high-performance control.
That's really interesting. Coming as somebody who was doing animation and stuff for a little bit and like character modeling, it seems like Epic Games is really trying their hardest to turn like Unreal Engine into a one-stop shop for everything. They're like, you don't need to use Maya, you don't need to use Blender, you can just do it all in Unreal now, basically.
Rig Dynamics Solver gives you greater control over dynamic motion. Scale high-fidelity digital units faster. Populate worlds with scalable crowds using the MetaHuman Crowd plugin, optimized across mobile, consoles, and high-end platforms. You can now capture full-body animation with a single camera using the MetaHuman Animator Markerless Motion Capture plugin.
Huh.
Plus, the Mesh to MetaHuman workflow.
I wonder if Rococo had any help with that.
Bodies
like any involvement.
Fully rigged, production-ready digital human.
What the hell? Hold on.
To a fully rigged, production-ready capture plugin. Plus, the Mesh to MetaHuman workflow turns any mesh, including bodies, into a fully rigged, production-ready digital human. Create richly dynamic worlds.
That's actually really interesting. because that was like one of the things with like MetaHuman back when I was messing around with those tools for a little bit, that I was like kind of like, you know, it was a little iffy. Some people had their kind of jank ways to do it, but now you can just import any mesh and like MetaHuman will just kind of like auto rig it and like apply weights and stuff like that. That's pretty cool.
With enhanced performance, Megalights is now production ready, delivering higher visual fidelity.
Lighting is what kills a lot of performance.
60 FPS performance on current generation consoles. The new Lumen Light introduces optimized lighting for 60 FPS handhelds and low-end PCs. Fog screen space scattering brings softer, denser, and more natural-looking fog, smoke, and dust. Plus create anime, cartoon, and hand-drawn looks more easily with the new Toon shader. Automate
so now
Unreal
Lumen
Engine
has
workflows.
Toon shading.
With the experimental MCP plugin, you can connect your favorite models like Claude to Unreal Engine and automate asset creation, testing, and optimization. The plugin can access core UE systems such as blueprints, assets, levels, materials, meshes, and many more. Discover advances in cinematic and virtual production. LiveLink Hub is now production ready, bringing centralized controls, synchronized recording, and live multi-camera monitoring to motion capture.
The motion
Simulated depth of field delivers more cinematic, film-style focus effects with cleaner visuals and faster rendering. Accelerate physics-based asset creation. Dataflow is now production ready, with improved node-based tools for faster physics and cloth workflows. It also streamlines chaos destruction with faster, non-destructive workflows for creating large-scale destruction effects. That's just a sample of what's new in UE 5.8. Check out the full release and download it now on our website.
Alright, that was brief. That was, I mean, it's kind of just more of the same that was already in Unreal, but with just a couple more, like, AI automated things, like some, realistically, I don't even want to say AI, I want to say it's probably more machine learned tools than anything. But yeah, it just seems like they're trying to get, like, more and more of the process of game development to be done just straight up in the engine. Let's see what the Sweenster had to say here.
Alright, at the Rocket League Competitive Series in Paris, we gave the world the first glimpse of Unreal Engine 6. And this is the next step in our mission, to make great games and tools and to share them with you so you can bring your ideas to life. And I'm here to talk to you about what we're building now for the future.
Damn, he's
Today,
got some
things are kind of awkward. There's actually two different ways to build
lenses.
stuff in Unreal. There's building Unreal Engine 5 games for standalone distribution on stores with massive AAA features. And then there's the Unreal Editor for Fortnite feature set and tool set that enables you to build a game once and then deploy it to all platforms live into Fortnite with its 80 million monthly active users.
Right, they're trying to,
Now,
I did hear
each of
something
them
about
has
this,
really
that they're
cool,
trying
unique
to
features, but it's
make
lacking the features
Unreal
of the
kind
other
of like
one. And so our big
Roblox.
initiative to bring them together is the core of the Unreal Engine 6 effort. It's UE5 plus UEFN equals UE6 plus some more cool stuff on the way. The vision is that if you build things once the Unreal Engine 6 way, then you can have a game that you can ship everywhere, including the console stores, the PC stores, the mobile stores, and also ship live into the Fortnite ecosystem or any other Unreal Engine 6-based game ecosystem built by any other developer.
What does it say, ecosystem?
Now, in prior generations, we put graphics first in leading and announcing our technology. But with the Unreal Engine 6 generation, we're focusing first and foremost on the foundations of the engine to prepare for the next generation of game development and for gaming. And the most critical change here is the move to the verse programming language for gameplay development alongside the low-level C++.
I saw this in my feed as well. Unreal 6 is switching off of C++ to their own custom coding language. Kind of like how Godot has GDScript Unreal is now doing their own called Verse. I wonder how similar it is to C++, and how big of a learning curve it's going to be for a lot of like programmers.
Engine. And the reason for this is to enable massive scale code and content interoperability across games. Today we have a lot of content interoperability features. You go to the Fab content marketplace, you download a bunch of cool objects, you stick in your game, but then you have to wire them up and make it work yourself. In the Unreal Engine 6 generation, by having a unified set of APIs and a unified language that works everywhere, you'll be able to build smart assets that are completely portable between games and between projects and can be shared at any scale, with the potential to have millions of developers collaborating together on a shared body of work that anybody can use. Another hallmark aim for the Unreal Engine 6 generation is to enable far larger game simulations. The original Battle Royale movie in 1999 that inspired the Battle Royale genre of games, fortunately just happened to have 100 people dropping onto an island. It's a nice coincidence because that's actually the maximum number of players our code base could support running on a single thread on a server. If they had 1,000 players, we wouldn't have been able to do it.
I think I've actually seen Tim Sweeney speak before. I've seen many quotes from him in text, but I didn't know he sounds so kind of like dweeby, for lack of a better word. Everything he's saying right now, it's interesting from a business standpoint. It makes a lot of sense to, again, the thing that he's been pushing Unreal for is growth and expansion and audience capture. He's trying to build his own walled ecosystem, even though that's what he rags on Apple for. I don't know what to think of this so far. On the one hand, it technically is going to become more entry-level user-friendly. It's going to empower a lot of indie devs to work on projects more easily and efficiently. But at the same time, it's also going to be skipping over a lot of the basic foundational stuff that makes people become good at game design. If everything is just kind of plug and play, you can kit bash a bunch of different plugins and models and stuff that you get from Fab, which, God, I hate that name change. Just because, and it's Fab because it's it's not just Sketchfab. They implemented the Quixel Mega Scans and everything like that all into there. So anything 3D model wise or texture wise, all just wrapped up in one convenient place. But that's what Unreal, or Epic Games rather, completely fails at the most, is that they try to consolidate all of these different tools. That's what it is. Epic Games tries so hard to consolidate tools to make it easier for developers, to make it more appealing, so that people want to use it as the engine that they start out with when they're making games, or to make it easy for large studios to be able to transition their studio work over to something like this. And at the end of the day, sometimes it sort of works, but again, I'm saying, when you try to consolidate everything to the nth level, you better make sure that consolidated product just stands up to normal basic user works, right? Everybody got used to working or obtaining things in very specific ways, and Unreal just keeps messing it up, man. That's the whole reason why Steam still crushes them on the storefront page. It's they want to try to argue Steam is a monopoly or a too strong of a competitor. It's well, look at what they're doing. The Steam interface opens up immediately when you launch the Steam app. And then from there, like, you know, everything's like instantaneous basically as you're like navigating through the Steam app and launching your games or downloading content. Epic Games are like, yeah, we have our one launcher for our game engine, our fab stuff, which just kicks you out to the website anyway, so you don't have the in-browser stuff anymore like you used to have for Unreal Engine. Like, if I wanted to download assets and import them into my Unreal projects, you know, it was all within that, like that Epic Games launcher, and it would download the stuff in launcher and, you know, update all the projects in launcher. But then they were like, oh, yeah, now you want to download stuff, we have to kick you out to the Fab website. So it's like, okay, well then why even have the Fab marketplace as like a option in the Epic Games Store in the Epic Games launcher at all? If you want to have the Epic Games launcher be something where the Epic Games Stores can be competitive, then make the Epic Games Store its own separate launcher, completely detach it from Unreal Engine, the Fab marketplace, and have it be its own place to buy games, because the loading on it is horrendously slow. It's finally gotten a little bit faster with some more recent optimizations that they've done for it, but like, it's just not good. Like, again, they have taken steps here and there to make it slightly better, but at the end of the day, it's still more annoying to use than Steam. And like, you know, especially for like Epic Games, you know, and again, they try to coerce devs to move over to Unreal Engine because they're like, hey, all we do is take like a really small royalty cut from your games. Like, it's going to be free to publish on Epic Games Store. I think they only take like a 7% revenue cut or something like that for games on the Epic Games Stores made with Unreal Engine. And they're like, you know, they try to do all this stuff to stick to Steam and to stick it to these other companies, right? And in theory, it's a good idea. Like, ideologically, that sounds great. It's very consumer friendly. It's very indie dev friendly. But it just doesn't end up working a lot of the time. Or they implement things so badly, and these things don't get fixed for like several years. Like, I remember when they first bought Megascans, they, you know, it's like, oh yeah, just sign in using your Unreal Engine account, and then boom, you'll have immediate access to the Megascans library and to Bridge, so that you can import those textures and assets into your project super easily. However, what this ended up doing was, in my experience, every time I tried to access the Megascans library, even though I had said like save log information, like remember me, it would still make me log in every single time that I hopped on there, and that was freaking annoying as hell, to the point where I just did not use the Quixel Scans library. I was like, if I want something, I'll just make it myself on the outside, or I'll look for some other outside sources to get the FBX files and just bring them in. Like, it was a disaster in my opinion. And like, same thing is happening for the game dev studios, right? You know, they are trying to, you know, Epic Games is like, oh, you know, we're losing a bunch of money. It's like, yeah, and a lot of game studios don't do the exclusivity deals with Epic Games anymore, because it's like, even though, yeah, you're gonna pay us a whole bunch of money to be on your platform for as an exclusive for a limited amount of time, we're seeing that customers would still rather just wait and then buy it on Steam because your interface sucks. And then like, they're like, okay, now we're gonna release the Unreal Engine Fortnite like dev tools, so it can be kind of like, you know, it's like their version of Source Filmmaker, or I guess like the Source Engine, right? You know, Steam had Source Engines, and you had stuff like TF2 and the animations and all that, everything that was made on by Valve was on that engine originally. And so Epic Games tried to do basically that, a more easy to use toolkit for, realistically, I want to say it's for younger audiences. I think people who are a bit older and have experience with game dev aren't really drawn to using stuff like UEFN. They'd rather just stick to regular Unreal and the stuff that they know how to use, because typically there's always going to be some kind of limitation or restriction, and things will get like difficult in weird ways whenever you're dealing with anything Unreal. I think a lot of people just don't want to go through the headache of that. So, but now it's like, okay, we're doing that, and now we're doing Verse, which is going to introduce a new programming language. So now, and you know, he's saying UE6 is basically just UE5 and UEFN combined together, plus a few extra features. I really hope, for the sake of all this, that they really plan things out well this time, and they actually are kind of like optimize things. You know, that's why they're saying they made their own new language for all this stuff, being Verse and everything. But I don't know.
The goal of Unreal Engine 6 is to introduce software and transactional memory technology, which Curtis Schmidt will talk more about later, in order to enable scaling of games to any amount of computers that can fit into a data center. Hundreds, thousands, potentially even millions in the future. And this is technology that's in the research lab.
This sounds like Metaverse Web3 nonsense.
Another major aim of Unreal Engine 6 is something I first talked about at the SIGGRAPH Computer Graphics Show back in 2016. There I talked about a potential future of gaming as an open system like the web is open, in which any developer can run a server, build a game, host their own content, and the user can go anywhere they want, from place to place, bringing all of their stuff with them, and tearing down the walls and barriers that exist between games to have a completely interoperable ecosystem. And you know, the Rocket League preview of Unreal Engine 6, if you looked at the very last frame of it, there was a little URL bar on top. The URL was verse://rocketleague.com. And we're tantalizingly close now to fully realizing this idea of an open gaming ecosystem with the ability to travel from game to game and independent developer freedom to build everything they want everywhere they go. And our aim at Epic is to work with all developers in the industry to build this system together as peers. We want a system with no overlord. You know, we've been spending some time fighting against overlords in the industry with some amount of success. And we don't want to be the next one. Rather, we want to be a partner to every company in the industry, including all game developers and also other makers of technology and services, in order to build the best stuff and connect it all up together. And so a huge part of this effort is going to be Epic adopting open standards like the Pixar USD file format and GLTF, and also working with standards bodies and releasing specifications to bring new standards into the industry where they're lacking and needed.
Oh, is that it? Jesus. Maybe I do need to watch this whole stream and just kind of clip through it. Oh, well, they did part 1, part 2. Oh, what happened to the game? Wait, their page changed and updated. Whatever that one game was called, it's not on here anymore. No laws. What happened? I don't know. Let's hear the other half of what Sweeney was saying.
First of many to come as we go about building more and more standards for interoperability for the future of gaming. And now I'd like to go and talk about the game business, which is in a time of both crisis and also opportunity. On the upside, there's a new generation of gamers coming in with new tastes in games, and they're playing games at a higher rate than any previous generation before. And the biggest games like Fortnite are once again growing and thriving. But underneath this, there's a serious challenge to AAA developers, and that's that a huge number of the new releases of major games are failing now.
Gee, I wonder why the new releases of many major games are failing now. Maybe it's because you're hiring a complete lack of skilled talent. Because everybody's used to like being like spoon-fed baby mode game development tools. And also through, that wave or that brutal wave of DEI hiring. Like, I'm sorry, the games industry is collapsing, especially the AAA industry. There's quite a few things that are causing the collapse of the AAA gaming industry. Investors, like stock market investing, I think is one of the biggest contributing factors to the downfall of this AAA industry right now, but it's also these overbloated teams with overbloated budgets, poor leadership that doesn't know how to like lock in and settle on a game, right? You know what? Hold on. Yeah, like these people can't lock in and like they don't have a direction for a game. They start with an idea. They start with the idea, like any other game project. They start working on it. They might have even had good ideas, or like they'll sometimes, you get all these stories sometimes of like regular developers working on the game, like the lower end people. They'll pitch these ideas in meetings and stuff like that, and they get shot down, and then later when we find out through interviews after the game comes out, these ideas, and a lot of people are very interested in the ideas. Like gamers were like, man, that is actually such a cool idea. Why didn't they do that? Like, I think just the older base of leadership has become so increasingly out of touch with gamers as a whole. They keep trying to pander to the new modern audience and also to Zoomer and Gen Alpha gamers, which most of them just don't have attention spans for things anymore. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't be making like large narrative focus like games. We have seen through stuff like Expedition 33 that stuff is still incredibly popular if done right. It's just people want good actual gameplay and good actual narratives that don't feel forced. But like all these people that they've been hiring and working on these games, all these writers and stuff, like they just want to inject everything with their own politics, their own biases into these games, and just force feed an agenda down gamers' throats. And gamers don't want that. Gamers want games. So it's like, how are you telling me? Let's take a look at the Bungie situation and Sony recently, right? There is no reason that Bungie should not be making Sony a boatload of money. Like, they should have learned with all of the decades of experience that some of the leadership still has, because some of that leadership is still like OG, even from like original Marathon days, like the original Bungie. I've never played the original Marathon, but like, I saw, I've seen some history about it. And when they transitioned to Halo, and people were like, oh, Halo's just a knockoff of Marathon, what are you guys doing? But then Halo became its own thing that was so much bigger than Marathon ever was. And Bungie was like, yeah, we did this, and like now we want to kind of pivot to a different direction. Xbox didn't want them to pivot to that direction, and then they left, and then they got to make Destiny under Activision. Long story short, Bungie was like, okay, let's revive Marathon as an extraction shooter, give it a really avant-garde art style, which is really hit or miss for a lot of people. I personally really love the art style of Marathon. I think it's unique and different. Stand out from the crowd of other extraction shooters, right? But it needs content. You can't just launch an extraction shooter in 2020. When did it come out? Was it technically 2025 or early 2026? Yeah, I think it was this year, 2026. Like, you can't just launch an extraction shooter aimed at a super hardcore crowd, because they were trying to pull away Tarkov players during development and interviews and stuff like that, and play testing. Like, you're not gonna pull the guys who, like, the people play Tarkov because of the sense of realism. It's not because, like, oh, you're going in, you're scavenging for stuff and you're extracting. No, people play Tarkov because like, they like the brutality of it, in the sense that, like, oh, you know, you get shot once in the head, you're dead. There's realism to it. It's like, oh, you know, your limbs get injured. You need different types of first aid in order to repair different body parts. You need splints for broken legs. You need bandages for bleeding and wounds. You need if your character is slightly concussed, you need to take like aspirins. You know, it's stuff like that. Like, it's really you know, it's very detailed and complex, and that's what people like about Tarkov. That it's fairly realistic. It is very complex. Your gun can jam sometimes. Like, if you reload, you just lost that mag of the ammo that was that other mag. Oh, how do you check how much ammo you have in your mag still after you've shot a couple rounds? You have to take the mag out and look at the inside of the cartridge, and then it tells you, oh, you've got like maybe 6-ish bullets left, and then you put it back in. Oh, you know, Marathon isn't that. Marathon is not Tarkov. It's bright, it's colorful, it wants to be fast-paced, like, in and out. Like, it's geared towards a hardcore audience, because, like, Bungie knows that hardcore PvPers are the main active community in Destiny 2. Your Iron Banner grinders, your Trials of Osiris people. And yeah, it just, you know, it's like, that's the crowd that they wanted to hop over to Marathon. But it's like, those guys just like regular PvP skirmish matches. They don't want kind of the small, I mean, Trials of Osiris is 3v3, but it's like they tried to take that mentality of that hardcore player, and they expected the game to like be approachable to a large mass, or I don't know what their sales target numbers were for Marathon, or why like Bungie pulled so much of their development team to work on it, because clearly this is a smaller project. I mean, big in scale with like ARG and lore stuff, and sure, Bungie's well known for that at this point, and it's cool and all, but like, who cares about that if the gameplay is not going to draw players in? It's frustrating. It's frustrating.
We're seeing often hundreds of millions of dollars of dev cost, followed by tens of millions of dollars of revenue. And the dev cost...
Yeah, and that's the other thing. It's like, the dev costs are so insanely high because a lot of these, you know, they are overhiring these people. Like, I'm sorry, a game like Marathon, I don't know how big the art team was on that, but for the art that's in it, for the scale of the game, you needed like 5 to 10 artists, like, realistically. You have like a graphic designer working on all the UI and UX elements, the posters, the decals, the prints that are all over the assets. You have your environmental modeler, working on like the buildings and some of the vehicles and things like that. Your concept artist, right, to, you know, create the drafts and everything of how everything's gonna look. You know, maybe you'll have like 2 concept artists, so they can, you know, kind of hash stuff out between character design and the environment design, and then from there, you know, you move on to the character modelers, the props and stuff like that. You know, the people who model the guns. You can just have the amount of weapons that there are in the game. That's one dude's worth of work right there. It's like, but so it's like, you boil down Marathon to like assets versus team size, like, what are you doing? They probably had well over 100 people on that team to develop Marathon. And it's like, sure, your programming team might be a little more large. Let's say you had like 15. I feel like. I mean, if you're carrying some people over from Destiny's team, right? Odds are they already have a lot of experience with programming the gunplay and stuff like that. Like, you take those core programmers from the Destiny team and you throw them into Marathon, you probably only need like 5 of them. Like 5 to 10 programmers, 5 to 10 artists, and then your producer and your art director and your creative director, and congratulations, you've got enough people to work on the game at a decent pace, but also you aren't spending the absurd millions of dollars on a bunch of people to do basically nothing or barely anything.
It feels to many like a tidal wave is sweeping over the AAA game business. I'd like to back up. Everybody has.
And I don't know how like game publishers and studios don't understand this.
The key generational changes.
Japan seems to understand this fairly well still.
And because if we want to come up.
And to pause this right here, let's take somebody like a publisher like Sega or Bandai Namco, right? These guys have hundreds to not, if not over like 1,000 employees each. And you're like, wow, that seems like an insane amount of game developers. But they are constantly pumping out game after game after game. Like Bandai Namco, how many games do these guys publish with the studios that are under them like a year? Like, I think under the Bandai Namco banner, there's like 20 to 30 games published a year by them. Now, granted, the dev studios are a different thing from the publisher, right? But the publisher does have to work with all their studios and give them, resources or reallocate to people like, oh, hey, these guys are struggling a little bit. You mind switching over to these guys, helping them out a little bit,
An honest solution, we have to
publisher does.
Identify the problem.
And they do like the marketing and stuff for them.
Increasingly becoming socially driven.
But because they have so much output, and the games are like not terrible,
play it by yourself or maybe play multiplayer.
They can maintain a better inflow, like a better flow of money.
And then deciding what to do together online, to play a game or experience. And this social increasing angle of gaming is creating a massive advantage for big games and big ecosystems because a game with a lot of players is much more likely to contain a lot of your friends, and a long-established game with a huge player base has a much easier job of retaining players than a new game has of attracting new players. Thus we've seen a lot of the major new multiplayer games not gain a sufficient community and momentum to survive, though in the past they might have. The other big change that's affecting gaming
I think he was trying to give Highguard and Concord out there. It's like, because they're new games that people don't want to play them. Marvel Rivals came out. It's a challenge Overwatch which like everybody was like, Overwatch is just that game. It's locked down. And Marvel Rivals came in and stole so much of Overwatch's audience and gained its own absolutely massive audience because it listened to gamers and gave them what they wanted. They wanted hot ladies with big booties and big boobies. They wanted, a variety of Marvel characters that weren't just the standard ones, right? And they gave them a chance to. That's how they kept development costs down as well. I mean, with licensing. They're like, hey, we're gonna license obviously a couple of the main characters that everybody knows and you kind of need to have in a Marvel game. But then it's like, we're gonna license the rights to characters that nobody knows because it's gonna be super, super cheap to license those characters out because nobody knows about them. They're not popular. they're not massively popular in their comic series and stuff like that. You know, maybe spindled out like a couple decades ago or whatever. But they're like, you know what, that character sounds interesting. We could probably do something cool with their gameplay. Let us have them. And then like with the skins and stuff like that, right? It's like they are playing hard into the Gooner audience, but the gameplay's fun, right? Like outside of Marvel Rivals, Overwatch, and Overwatch, you don't really have a game that has that same type of gameplay loop that is anywhere near as fun, and that's why you haven't seen any competitors for it.
Shifting from buying games to buying things in games. And yeah, whether you're a fan of this or not, the arithmetic of it is undeniable. And this is another thing that reinforces the success of very large existing ecosystems in games and makes it ever harder for new entrants to get in. And that is, if you've been playing a game for a long time and it has a huge player base, then you can buy with confidence knowing that the things you purchase will still be useful to you days, weeks, or years later.
Actually, also not true at all, because look at Call of Duty. Anytime they come out with a new like DMZ or Warzone, you had not for a while were not able to transfer your skins over, and these games are coming out on a fucking yearly basis. Like, what are we talking about here? Look at Capcom, right? It's like, oh, you know, Street Fighter 5 going to Street Fighter 6, your characters and your microtransactions and your skins and stuff like that going to transfer over to the next major game. No, because the next major game is going to be completely different from the previous one. I don't even know what more to say about that.
When a new game comes out, it's a much more difficult decision to spend. You're not sure if you're going to play it next.
Oh, well, yeah, that's the other thing too. It's like, yeah, you're not sure. The only games that you're not sure, that you're going to be hesitant on and not sure, is these big AAA games, because AAA games have been screwing over gamers and have been delivering mediocre and poorly received games for the most part for the past couple of years.
And they're much less likely to spend. And the final trend that's affecting gaming is that the market for players' attention has become extraordinarily competitive, more so than I've ever seen before in my lifetime when we were competing with, you know, lame television and other things.
Yes, but it's because of these predatory microtransaction behaviors, right? Every single company started buying into like the FOMO thing, right? Oh, we need to have time exclusive skins. Like basically that's why the gacha game space became as big as it did. It's because people opt in. They're like, okay, I gotta put money in for the banner, or like, you know, at first they start out with just the free, like grinding away, getting free currency, and then doing all the polls and stuff, completely RNG, and then like, oh no, but now I gotta get competitive, so I gotta like put money until I can guarantee I get this character and whatever, and I need these cosmetics. These cosmetics are only going to be short time here, and like it just spiraled out of control from there. Like everything just became like gambleified, and it's just like, you know, jingling keys, like constantly everybody's trying to jingle keys in front of people to keep them on. It's like, and that's what's made the gaming space so like absolutely toxic when it comes to like development. They're like, okay, yeah, we're gonna bring up the gaming space, and we come up with this game and it's gonna be free, but if you actually want to play this game, well, you're gonna have to spend a bunch of money. Like, come on, man. Like, you can't just pretend that these past couple of years of gaming and like say industry sales trends are like on the down simply because of some mystical reason of people not being able to attract players to their games. It's like, no, the reason it's going downhill is because these companies are overspending in areas where they don't need to be spending as much, and like they're forcing politics that the general populace don't agree with down their throats. Everything has to be some sort of performative social like message and everything. It's like, no, I want to hop onto a video game, play it for a couple hours, move on. Like, honestly, if you want a hot take, arcade style games are some of the ones that would do better with this competition for attention, right? There are things that you can hop in, you play for a brief amount of time, you get the same level of gameplay loop in that short amount of time as if you were playing it for a longer amount of time, and then you hop on to something else and you move on, and then maybe you come back later. That's why roguelikes, that's why that whole space, that whole genre has exploded in the past couple of years. It's because it gives people a way to play a game for a little bit amount of time without like forcing FOMO upon these people, without like trying to completely addict them to the game. It's like, hey, you hop on the game, you mess around for a little bit. It's different every time because of the randomly generated stuff, minus like persistent like upgrades and things of that nature depending on the game. Like you hop in, you play for a little while, and you hop off and you play something else, and it doesn't harm the brand. People will still really like the game, and they'll look forward to more games from that developer or that studio in the future because they're like, oh, this game was fun. Like that's all it boils down to. Was this game fun or was it not?
Nowadays, there's all kinds of social media platforms, as well as things, like prediction markets that trend almost into vice, all competing for people's times, all very effectively. And so to overcome these trends, the game industry, whether we like it or not, is reorganizing itself. And there are kind of two big predictions for the future as these problems reverberate throughout the industry. One view of the future is that Roblox grows and eats gaming.
That just won't happen.
A lot of people are saying this online. But what you have there is a centralized platform with a single gatekeeper that commoditizes all content, takes more than 70% of revenue, and has 450 million users on board. And so that's a real challenge to game developers.
Usually under the age of 13.
We live in a very different future. And a much brighter one for the people in this room, and that is that a future of high-quality gaming rising to the challenge and linking up our content, linking up our communities, linking up our economies to deliver fun and to serve gamers with great games in a way we've never done before. And to accomplish that, we're going to all need to change the way we build things. We're going to need to build better games, we're going to need to build them more efficiently, and we're going to need to design up front and build for connected games, where all of our player bases.
You don't need to build for connected games, but yes, you do need to build things more quickly. You know how you do that? You do that by using the pre-established, norms, right? Like, the things that people have been learning for years. Part of the reasons why even experienced game devs are forced to take even longer, working on these games, is because it's like, okay, we heard this new fancy tool was coming out, we're going to make you use it now. And it's like, okay, well now there's a learning curve where they have to learn how to use these new tools and figure out how to adjust their workflow to accommodate it versus the stuff they used to be comfortable on and they were very highly proficient in and could get stuff done more quickly. It's like now out the window. It's like, okay, well, that's me, I guess.
They're connected socially and our economies are connected.
And optimization, right? That's another thing. So it's they want to build assets as fast as possible and just kit bash them all into a game. That's what Tim Sweeney has promoted through Unreal ever since late Unreal 4. Yeah, since late Unreal 4. I want to say Unreal 4.6 and on is whenever Epic Games really switched to the strategy of just kit bash everything. Just download assets, throw them in, our engine will solve it and take care of it. That was the whole thing with Unreal 5. They're like, oh yeah, just throwing these big movie assets that have millions of polygons on them, and it'll just re-render them in a way that it won't be as big of an impact on as big of an impact on resources on people's computers. Same thing with the lighting. Oh, now you don't have to pre-bake. You don't have to waste time pre-baking lighting or using capture spheres and stuff like that to get just the right lighting, and faking lighting by maybe painting on some painting like lighting onto certain textures and baking your lights in certain scenes. Nah, we'll just use a lumen light and it'll just automatically calculate all the lighting and stuff for you with array paths. And like it just works in the words of Dodd Howard. Like it doesn't just work. It's like we had all these techniques in stuff in the past for building games and on how to make them incredibly efficient and optimized. It's like yeah, why are you throwing an 8K resolution texture into a game when like 60% of gamers are on 1080p monitors, another 20% is on 1440p, and you got like 2% on like 4K monitors? Yeah, you know, like you have to build for the screens that people are using. Like, they are just building games for the enthusiasts. They're not building games for the common denominator. So it's like, that's why game file sizes are so big, because you have all these balloon textures that game devs don't even bother to like try to compress through other tools. They don't try to, and you know, because Unreal Engines is physics-based rendering, it's like, oh, we have all these different layers, so it's like, technically we have like 4 texture files per texture, because you have like your albedo and you have your normals. Like, it's like, we need all this data so that the stuff can look realistic and good and as good as possible. It's like, or you could just combine that stuff all into one texture file and have it be slightly lower resolution, create a texture atlas for your levels, where it's like, okay, we have the atlas, this is building, we're going to drag concrete texture onto there, we're going to drag its UVs onto this concrete texture, now we're going to drag these UVs over like the window pane and stuff like that. It's like, that's how like stuff on the Nintendo 64 was built, and like the GameCube era and PlayStation 1 and 2, you know? It's like how did you kind of have these larger areas or stuff built out in these environments? Yeah, they all just share the same, technically one big texture panel. And it's like, was there a reason to stop doing that? No. The reason became, oh, I don't want to do that, or I don't want to figure out how to do that, so I'm just gonna upload the textures fully raw with all its stuff, and then you know, it'll just eat up more space on people's computers. Who cares? Just have a bigger hard drive.
So that players, instead of seeing these as isolated products, see them as part of, a global ecosystem that all game developers participate in together. You know, we want to work with all.
And as a game dev, you should not want a global, what was he saying? A global ecosystem, right? Because every other game on the market is your competitor. If you're doing stuff that your competitor can then take and use for free for no problems, because the API is all open source and everything, and they'll just implement that into their games, and then, oh, well, this other game that has this other feature that I like has your features too. Why would I play your game? I'm gonna go play that other game instead. That is terrible for developers.
The things
Everybody is a competitor to each other.
Technological foundation for it, and you know, we believe that this is a big challenge that we all have to rise to. We need to win the competition for players' time, not only against other games, but also against YouTube and TikTok and everything else that people are doing online. And this was very much on our minds when we set out about building Unreal Engine 6. And it's also what was on the minds of really close partners like Disney and Lego and other AAA game developers when we've been building increasingly close partnerships to them to build this together. Yeah,
and you know what that increased partnership with Disney did? It made it so Disney characters can't use guns in Fortnite.
That's quite a lot, but we realized that this is not enough for Epic to do it alone. To build the ecosystem of the future, we're going to have to build it together. And I think the thesis for that is very optimistic, that between all of us and the world's best games, many of which use Unreal Engine, and many of whose developers use Unreal Engine and many projects, we have billions of active users. And so we have the opportunity to form up into Team Open and to define the future of gaming together again. And that's exactly what we want to accomplish in this generation together with you. So that's what we're doing. Thank you very much for coming here to Unreal Fest. And remember, where else in the world can Fortnite creators get together with AAA game developers and filmmakers and architects and car designers and people at Lockheed Martin who are designing things?
Exactly. You're trying to lump too many things, too many unrelated industries together into one big, like, happy-go-lucky family. And it's like, you don't do that. There was a reason why. It's like, especially when going through like game development courses in colleges and stuff like that, you have people want specializations. People don't want, other than like indie studios, people don't want generalists that can do a little bit of everything. People want the best artists, or at least that's how it used to be. People want the best artists for their projects. They want the best UI designers for their project. They want the best programmers so that their game functions properly. They want the best like environmental artists and set designers for their projects. And they want the people that actually know how to operate within these game engines to be doing this thing. People that come from like a movie background, like making assets and stuff for movies, generally aren't going to optimize or really understand how to optimize those assets for a video game. And you're just trying to give them all like, they're just trying to like bail them all out of having to learn those skills. I'm switching modes here. I know, I used to be very gung-ho and all aboard for Unreal Engine, but, you know, the decisions they've been making these past couple years, and again, it's because I was younger, and I was like, oh yeah, open everything, yeah, make it super easy for new people, but it's just like, when you keep doing these big changes and trying to make everything a one-size-fits-all glove, it just makes everything, like, super difficult to do, and it becomes very, very not fun. But I think that's all I'm gonna get from the Unreal Fest for now. I've been yapping for an hour already off of like 10 minutes of video footage. I'm gonna switch gears into gaming now. One thing I want to check out was the free games. On Epic Game Store that was released yesterday. Because it actually looked pretty neat. I'm going to be starting out here with RoboBeat. And I don't know how to pull the music. Switch to the gaming scene. Quality gaming. The camera shade. We'll leave it at 1, I guess. Oh god, I hate head and weapon bobbing. Oh, hold on, let me swap my controller. That's something. Audio is kind of quiet. Oh my god, why is master volume on 5? Like, thank you for not being at 100% and blowing my ears out, but it's a music game. Realistically, I'm a heathen right now. I do not have a 120 plus hertz monitor. I have a 75 hertz monitor. I mean, it's an Asus ProArt display. I wanted color accuracy. So this is one of the 2 free games on Epic Game Store this week. It seemed pretty interesting. I wanted to check it out. Some of the indie games they've been putting on there lately have been pretty good. Music kind of reminds me of like Sonic Adventure 2. Oh, what was fast? Oh, this is the head rolling. Yeah, this type of stuff in a shooter, dog. Why does the wall run so slow? I see you hold. Continue. See, I'm telling you, Sonic Adventure 2 Shadow storyline. I'm so sorry. Hold on. That was a very fast ground slam. LT is shoot. I guess because it's my left hand. Okay, that's kind of cool. It's like BPM. What was that game called? Bullets per minute or something like that. Okay. Actually, I wonder if this will be better on mouse and keyboard. My aim's pretty rough. Oh, cool. Cool, cool. What the hell? Man, I'm missing the suit. Okay, it's like what's that one game? Oh, I can't remember its name right now. You gotta invest points into your upgrades. What the hell was that platformer? But so I just figured out. Oh, it was a parry. Excuse me? I'll just not stop the right. Dear Mr. X, regarding the recent developments in the case, please be assured that we are taking the situation very seriously and are committed to resolving it quickly. Firstly, I must express our sincerest apologies for the unforeseen complications that have arisen. The safety and effectiveness of our operations are paramount. And the current situation is highly unusual and concerning. Can you give us any additional information about the target? I've attached a detailed status report of the operative line. Oh? Oh? They are under the floorboards. I'm screwed. Ooh. Ooh. I'm trying to do the mechanics too too much to a fault. It's the same guns. Ooh. Okay. How many blips do I have? Okay. There's the dash. Okay. Sorry, I'm not speaking a whole lot, but I'm mad focusing on the game. Oh, Flux 2. Don't mind if I do. Motherfuckers. It's cheating, spawning behind me. What? Alright, this game's interesting. I feel like it's very skewed for mouse and keyboard. Mouse and keyboard? Oh, now it shows me how to change songs. Middle mouse. Oh. Cease. 69. Oh, oh. Gotcha. Oh. Wee. Um, hmm. Alternate weapon shots deal more damage, repeated shots deal less. Okay. I'll try. I need the shotgun for this. Motherfucker. Oh, another one? Now we should get used to this alternate shot. Oh, dude, this. Jesus. My God. Well, dude, I hate. Get rid of the fuck. Get off the. Yojimbo. But good afternoon. Today's update. We now have not one, but three operatives within Ace and Bishop and D4000. Razor, I thought Bishop was dead. Didn't we clear him? Who's Ace? Ace is the one who lost his gun earlier by the drop. He's just here to complete the mission. Bishop is not dead. He has ceased his objective and taken it to exploring your base's nooks and crannies. I keep finding his notes. Exploring? What exactly is he doing? By the way, I gave the gun to Ray. He appears to be treating this as some sort of recreational venture. He's been wandering through the ventilation system and the walls. He's been engaging in a bit of target practice with our robotic guards. Quite unconventional. I don't know. Weird. Bro learned to parry. Dude, this menu toggle shit is going to drive me sick. Easy. Oh, it's a new pistol. 2 beats. They're all replace the shotgun. Oh, I don't like that. I do not like it at all. Okay. Oh, yeah. Most of your shots bounce the next time. Or bounce for 3. Huge. Dude, I'm just aim atrocious, but I'm on beat. What? All right, I gotta pee. Oh. All right, we're back. What we're gonna do? Spend points. Infinite locker. I walked it. Oh, so that's what it was. It was an acid. You know what? I think it's a good place to call it there for that game. That was almost an hour of that as well. Game's interesting. It's like all right. These like shooter BPM games, like they're okay. They're fun for a little bit, but to be honest, I'd rather just be playing Doom. But it's not too bad, especially for being one of the free titles on Epic. RoboBeat. Not bad. Let's see. They've been streaming almost 2 hours. I guess let's go into Citizen Sleeper. That's the other free game that was available. There we go. Citizen Sleeper 2 announced. Isn't it supposed to be like a RPG kind of game? It's operator, -1 strength, +1 interface. Extractor, -1 intuition, +1 endurance. So those are the only 2 characters we could choose, okay. Let's go with Extractor. Let me let's pause this music. It's at its worst when waking, when yourself has spent many dark hours recalling what it felt like to be real, to be a person, to be in a body that was indisputably yours. Think of that body. A leap into a cold lake on a hot day, the sting of blood welling from a fresh wound, the friction of a fingertip. All of a sudden, the memories are closer than you thought, blurring as you approach, until you can't tell one from the other. The cold slips in, behind and around you. The sensations fade out of reach. Perhaps you should be thankful for the dulled nature of this new body, given your current circumstances. The walls of the container feel immediately present, cold, hard, at your back and face, cramping your limbs. You resist the desire to stretch, knowing that the claustrophobia comes next, a retreat from your little central nervous system. It isn't painful, not like you used to know pain, at least. In emergency mode, pain is a message delivered with efficiency and ease, a reminder that harm is imminent. There is no insistent throb, no trembling nerves, just a warning delivered with the banal quality of digital notification. Right now, there are thousands of them. Remember the plan. You mostly remember that it wasn't a good plan, but then your options were limited. And once you got the itch to get out, by any means possible, it was either that plan or something much worse. At least it was simple. Collapse shaft, drift away in the chaos, slip into cargo processing, seal yourselves into containers, then just hope the freighter left before you were missed. Some were lost in the shaft. Others found near the meeting point. Only a few made it to the containers, but the freighter, as far as you know, left. The freighter, as far as you know, left. That feels like enough. Enough to know that you might no longer be on that grim and heartless rock. Even if the airless hold of a freighter, you might freeze solid long before you've reached any destination. Where are you? Try and rest. But you are restless. It has been a long time since you left. Surely weeks, maybe months. You are duly aware to the damage to your legs, your right arm. You have been reserving energy as much as possible, but your body has still needed to shut down many of its systems to protect you. You've spent much of that time asleep, knowing that anything else would be impossible to endure. You feel the weight of that impossibility begin to gather. It's just time to sleep again, to nudge this false body into inducing delta waves in your emulated mind, and once again recoil into a dream of when you were once a person. Time passes. The cold creeps further in. You feel something. Warmth. Not true warmth, but the indication of its presence. Your joints release from the rigor, sound too, everywhere screeching and shimmering so loud that your body ducks your hearing to protect its sensors. Then light, white as the cold, softer and softer, until in the haze of dirty yellow a figure appears. You are out. It has been a few hours since Dragos pulled you from the container. You sit huddled in a corner of his scrapyard, swollen in the reflective folds of his mylar blanket. You are slowly coming back to consciousness, back to life. And you stare at the ornately curving element of an improvised heater. You're surrounded by angular, incoherent lumps of ships, some corroded beyond recognition, others still carrying glassy wounds along their edges where a plasma arc sliced them apart. As you trace their shapes with fogged eyes, you hear a voice. So, sleeper, you all thawed yet? Never seen one of you come in like this. New firms must have better perseverance than Sub-Zero Vac. Seen more than a few of you frozen solid to hull plates or inside-outer locks in my time. They weren't so lucky. Dragos comes into focus. Shrouded in makeshift tech. His headset with its glinting eye is the mark of a drone operator. On his shoulder, one of his symbiotically linked drones perches, its irising eye locking you with an unflinching stare. Last living sleeper that came through this yard was a while ago. They didn't last long. You struggled to read his expression beneath the tech, but he seems lost in memory for a moment, or perhaps he is just figuring out what to do with you. You aren't sure if he hears you. I won't ask what led you to it. To sell yourself to a corporation, and I suppose you can't go back. Your old body, that's theirs now. And you're just software, a rogue emulation illegally possessing corporate property. You're not alone. You remember biometrically signing the forms, the cold floor on your feet as you padded to the sleeper cells. The promise of a new life off-world, but as you do, you get the now familiar sense that these aren't your memories. These are things you know, but not things you feel. You are no longer that person. You are an offshoot, a copy. What you know isn't what's ahead. At least the last one didn't. There's no easy way to put it. That body of yours is falling apart. Same for any sleeper who makes it out. SNR wants to protect their property, but if they can't keep hold of you, well, then nobody can. Remember that too, or at least rumors of it from the other sleepers. Planned obsolescence. A built-in dependence on the regularly administered supplements that were part of your routine. Stop taking them and your body begins to shut down. Separate from your mind? How long has it been? How long do you have? But for now, sleeper, you are one of the lucky ones. Dragos glances up and away towards the glassy dome of the yard. The eye is the best place you could be right now. The eye? The station? You'll see soon enough. Dragos impatiently sips his weight. Look, I've got things to be getting on with. He trailed off. There's an old freighter I've been waiting to use as storage out in the stacks. We haven't been pulling in much valuable strack these days, so you're welcome to it. Something wells up inside you. Emotion, fatigue. You shakily get to your feet. All right, you head on up there. You look like you need some rest. And with that, Dragos stalks back into the Rex. His drone already converged in rusty hulk. Plasma flashes silhouetting his spindly figure as he returns to work. So much flowery language. I feel like we're kind of going too much on the vocabulary. Home to Erlin's Eye. Life on the Eye runs in cycles, during which you can talk to characters, explore areas of the station, and perform actions. At the end of each cycle, you need to head to your current home to rest. Resting will move time forward on the station. Head to the empty container location to rest and end the cycle now. You wake up curled in the corner of the container and begin slowly assembling the world around you. After all this time, you still find this body, the one you wake in now, strange and disjointed. Its messages readable but somehow wrong. You sit up, pulling the mylar blanket close against the cold. Here you are, on this ruined station, millions of miles from anyone you know. Are you still in the system? Did any of the others make it out? It's impossible to know. After all this, what matters? Whoops. It all matters. The past is impossible to escape, but it remains a blur. What SNR did you cannot be forgotten. You need a way of understanding all this before you can move on. Where are you? What is this place? What happened to the others? The questions outnumber the answers, and you want to change that. But you'll have to learn how to survive first. Drago slept a few comforts in the container. The mylar blanket, the bedroll you slept on, a canister of water, a makeshift electric stove, and some faded sachets of some desiccated powder? Desiccated? I guess. You thumb the power set of the stove and begin to boil the water. The contents of the sachets smell like damp wood, and you sprinkle them into the liquid. As the pungent smell washes over you, images from your restless sleep come back to you. A ring, like the station, but skeletal and ghostly. A web of threads pulling at your skin. A constellation of bright polygonal shapes, like angular suns, burning into your mind. There's something unpleasantly visceral about these images, and it is long after you finish drinking before they begin to fade. You tidy away the stove as best you can and try to gather enough energy to greet the day. Finally, your condition respects the state of your body, action dice, can be used to perform actions. Each is 5 by your energy bar. Energy depletes by 2 segments each cycle. If it becomes empty, you'll be starving. When you're starving, energy loss becomes condition loss. Leave? Still wearing his headset in the harsh light of his corridor, you realize it is implanted. The drone chirps. Good to hear it. You notice that beneath the operator's rig, his skin is marked by burns and blotches. Another container isn't much, but it'll keep you safe. He pauses. I'm not going to chit-chat too long. You well enough to work? Sure. All right, then, he nods. At the yard, it's simple stuff. We hack these old holes down, sell them off to the shipyards or the bright market dealers for cryo. Occasionally, we pull some tech, something with a bit more value, but most of what comes in is scrap. It's hard to find good hands here, but I figure as a sleeper, you'll be used to the manual labor. And obviously, I'll slip you a few chits on commission based on what you turn up. These pulls out a small handful of small metal bars, air-walled cryo, isolated from the market. It's what we use for trade out here. Slips them back in the pocket. Okay. Quite things to throw out the yard. I need the help. Sure, happy to. Will do. Oh god. Your types of outcomes. Yellow is positive, white is neutral, red is negative. 100% chance, 50% chance, 25% chance, 50% chance. Okay, right, because these are your dice. So this is like a guaranteed 6, guaranteed 5, guaranteed 4. Well, chance at 4, chance at 3. You have like your modifiers. 50-50. Neutral. Actions often work as clocks. Clocks are displayed below. Yeah, When tracking triangles is dead are cycle clocks. Okay. Yeah, it turns into a 50-50. Positive or neutral. Drives and navigation. Try tracking a drive to help you survive. Look for food to keep your energy. What do you mean? Okay, neutral outcome. 100% positive. Okay, so we leave. Perk, sunbathe. Wrap a rat of dice. What do they need? Alright, we end the cycle. I am starving. Huge. This time, you don't wake up. Instead, the ghost of the station, that shifting skeletal ring surrounds you. For a moment, you're gone, absent from your own body, stretched out across a colorless void. Then the connections begin to establish themselves, threads tugging on the edge of your mind. These threads become vectors of exchange, then extensions as you feel your own thoughts slipping away down from them, dissolving into the millions of disturbed nodes as they connect to you. You see the station. No, you feel the station, like a web of texture in smooth black liquid. Touch. You find a point in the station and you connect to it. Pulse through it, follow loops and paths under and around it. You touch more points than you have fingers, and then you try in a moment of impulsiveness to connect them. The flow passes through you so rapidly that you feel yourself being carried with it, splitting and separating, eddying and gathering. As you do, things occur to you, things you can't possibly know. Reach out, try to grasp them, try to touch them too. You notice a tugging feeling pulling at you, insistently as if it were a small child. Somehow it is pulling in two directions at once. You look down. All of a sudden, everything shuts off. Come back trembling into this unfamiliar body. Both yours and not yours all at once. Find yourself standing in the container. Eyes now open dark steel walls. You feel a change within you, a shift. You close your eyes for a second and you feel it is waiting there. The station splayed out across your mind, a storm of connective nodes waiting to be explored, and then it is gone. Ah, I see. Hmm. Ouch, negative outcome. Uncycle. Okay, yes, this thing again. We'll see 2 lines, 2/3 going in different directions. We'll do the first. Someone out there is tracking you, hunting you, following a third to you. They're in a ship, and the ship is approaching ever closer with each cycle. Oh my god, these are awful dice. Oh, that's how I look at the rest of the shit? Oh. Well, they didn't tell me that. I'm not gonna lie. I think that's a type of game I'm not as much into as these type of games as like visual novel type things. It's very like text heavy. I thought it was gonna be more of like a strategy turn-based RPG, but I'm sure it will be interesting for somebody out there. What the heck? Okay, so what do we want to do now? So I don't feel like ending things yet. You know what? Alright. We are going to be changing things up. Oh. Excuse me. Want to do some retro gaming? I want to, because of the news of Ocarina of Time being remade for the Switch 2, and that's coming out this year, I wanted to replay through Ocarina of Time again. So that is exactly what we'll do. YouTube's here we go, manage. Just adjusting some stuff. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and switch things up. Update the title. Or, what is that I'm looking for? Well, you know what, actually? Here's what I'll do. I will end stream here and start up Ocarina of Time as a separate stream. That way, things don't get like crossed. So, I'll end it here for this part. This was a stream looking at like Epic Games stuff, discussing some of the things from the Unreal Fest. And then trying out, you know, the new free games this week. So, if you stick around after this, I'm going to be playing Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Like as I mentioned, I want to play back through the games because of the announcement of the remake that's coming out. I'm very excited for it. The Legend of Zelda is one of my favorite series. So, we gonna get it. We're gonna get it done. Goodbye, everyone.